If there's one thing I want you to understand, it's that fearing change is the only thing that's going to hold you back in this life. I used to be a United States Army soldier, completely afraid of ever getting out of the military. Not because I didn't believe in myself, but because I didn't know if the world was actually going to have anything for me. I had literally attached my identity, who I was as a person, Ace and Figueroa, to me being a United States Army soldier. In my mind, it was honestly almost impossible for me to become anything more than what I already was. And that's why I'm here to tell you, you need to never do this. It doesn't matter if you're a military service member. It doesn't matter if you work corporate. It doesn't matter if you work a regular job. Never attach your self-identity with what you do for work. You see, it's that fear of change. It's that fear of us not being what we once were, what we're used to being, that holds us all back from evolving into our highest self. And I know for a fact that people who don't listen to this fear are the only people who ever end up achieving their dream life. If I had listened to my fears, my brain, that negative thought process inside of me telling me that I couldn't be anything else besides an Army soldier. I should stay in. I made sergeant at the age of 21. Why would I get out? I'm advancing very fast. If I had listened to that voice, then I would have never achieved anything that I've achieved now. I'm a free entrepreneur. I don't work for anyone only because I chose to not listen to that voice inside my head and listen to the judgment and the opinions of others that were telling me that I needed to stay in the same place. You see, if you let your job become who you are, then that's all you're ever going to believe that you can actually become and evolve into. The reason this is so dangerous for you is because we as humans are actually limitless. I used to be a United States Army soldier, and I've made it to the dream life that I've envisioned. A life where I make money online, a life where I don't work for anybody else, a life where I live in Miami, a life where I've traveled the world, a life where I have a beautiful wife and son that I get to share this love and this freedom and this abundance with every single day. And the only reason I was able to achieve this, the only reason anybody's able to achieve any of their goals, any of their desires, is because they actually can understand that they can do more. They are not who they are right now. Their current position doesn't define who they're going to be in the future. And if you align who you are and your personal identity with that job, that's exactly what you're doing. You're shooting yourself in the foot. You're not allowing yourself to actually evolve into your highest self. You're not even putting yourself in that frame of thinking that will allow you to reach that person, that version of you. You see, a lot of people think that making a change is dangerous, when in fact, the only way you can actually learn and grow is by making that change. The only way you can become the person you want to become is by making change. The only way you can actually get better and stop these daily habits that are holding you from growing. Stop that constant takeaway of your energy that you could be putting on building a better life for yourself. The only way you're going to be able to do any of this is by believing you can do more and changing who you are. When most people are in that process of changing their life, they're not actually fearing the change, they're fearing the unknown. And just because it's unknown doesn't mean it's not good for you and doesn't mean it won't better you and your life. You see, as an ex-service member, I understand that getting out of the military is probably the scariest thing you could ever face. You're used to the structure and the predictability of the military. You're used to taking those orders. You're used to executing. You're used to every single thing in your life being told to you. And that's why losing that structure probably feels like you're probably going to lose a sense of control in your life. But that's literally the complete opposite for me. Ever since I left the military, I've felt like I've regained control back in my life. I felt like the knowledge and the tools and the skills that the military taught me gave me the foundation to live this free life that I live right now. I feel like the military was simply a stepping stone for me to step into the highest version of myself. It wasn't my entire life, it was just a part of my life. And again, the only reason you feel uncertainty as a service member or someone who's exiting a job is because you've been indoctrinated. You see, it's extremely hard to see how much our thinking has actually been affected by the system that we're used to living in until you release yourself, until you exit this system. And that's what I've been able to do, and it's what I know anyone else can also accomplish. You see, the system teaches obedience. It doesn't really teach you how to become an owner. It doesn't teach you how to become self-sustainable. We're never really pushed to become entrepreneurs, to become business owners, to become people who don't really need another person or another entity to make money and live. You know, paycheck, housing, and benefits, this is all, stability, but it's really kind of an illusion. Because the truth is, it just shields you from the fact that it's not that you can't handle your own life. It's that you're just afraid of leading your own life. And again, I know you might even feel a sense of loss, like you're losing where you feel like you may belong. You're losing, everything that made you potentially who you are right now. But that's not the truth. Whenever you're starting something new, you're starting at ground zero, I personally think this is the best position to be in single-handedly for anyone in life. Why? Because it allows you to rebuild yourself. It allows you to find who you actually are, what you actually want to do in your life. And it finally allows you to not be consistently influenced by outside energy, by outside people, outside judgment that wants you to act and behave a certain way, that wants you to live your life only in the way that they deem fit. You see, fear has probably molded the lives of more people than I can even count. I personally know, counting on my hands, how many people I truly feel have unlimited potential, especially as business owners, but simply aren't fulfilling that potential because they're afraid of how it's going to go. Not from anything tangible, not from anything real, but a simple, fearful thought. You got to understand, guys, years are passing by while you sit in fear and you sit in procrastination and you overthink and you overthink. You're letting years pass you by. Years that could have actually been spent learning new skills. Years that could have been spent refining yourself, refining your mind, refining your body and your soul. Years that could have been spent in becoming that person who doesn't need anyone else besides himself. You see, what I actually feared a lot more than losing the structure of the military or losing a job was me simply never getting to the vision that God implanted in my head. Me never getting to this life that I live right now, of where I'm talking to you guys on a YouTube video and I'm free. I have businesses that make me money online. I live in Miami. I've traveled the world with my wife and son. This life, not getting here, was way more fucking scary, guys. Way more scary than not having another paycheck come to me next month. You see, the problem is that we're all settling for like predictability. We're all settling for a false comfort instead of actually going out and getting the life and achieving the life that we want to live. We only have this one life. There's only one of them that we get. So why would you ever allow fear to guide your life? I remember when fear was guiding my life, I lived a life that I fucking hated. I was partying all the time. I was playing games all the time. My energy was just being fucking wasted on a day-to-day basis. I was distracted. Nothing was going how I wanted to whenever I allowed my fears to run my life. You see, settling for predictability and for security, you know what all this does? It excuses you from growing. It excuses you from becoming your highest self. Because the truth is, if you want to really live a life of freedom, if you want to really, really genuinely achieve all of your goals, you can't conform to fear. Fear doesn't sit alongside someone who achieves all their goals. They just don't coexist. It just doesn't mix. Just like the military required risk, on the battlefield, during training, so does freedom. So does achieving all of your goals. You see, the real problem is that we're not fucking making our own missions. We're consistently letting the world and society tell us what our mission is. We're letting the world tell us what we need to be doing with our lives instead of looking deep and within, talking to God and figuring that shit out ourselves. For your sake, guys, stop being a follower. Build something. Take the lead in your life. Stop letting the world tell you what you need to be doing. Your self-identity, who you feel you actually are, should not come from what the world says. It should come from solely you. You and God. Who you are and your self-identity needs to be only between you and God. And if it's not, there's a problem. It's a lot easier said than done. Listen, I literally understand. I went through it myself. But the truth is, so is anything else that's worthwhile in this life. You're never going to get anything that's actually extremely, extremely fulfilling in your life, guys, that's going to really make you feel like, holy fuck, life is really worth it, without going through some trials and some tribulations. And guess what? You have to be excited to face these trials and these tribulations. You have to be fucking ecstatic that you get to experience this new thing in your life. You have to be grateful to God that you get to finally stop being in the same revolving fucking loop of the same bullshit that you've been doing over and over again, and you finally get to do something new. And not only do you get to do something new, you get to become someone new. You get to evolve. Now, I want you to understand, I'm not telling you to just drop everything. In fact, what I am saying is to just take control over your life. Understand that you are not what society tells you. You are what you tell yourself you are. And the longer you allow society to tell you who you are and what you're going to be and what you can accomplish, the longer you're going to be completely unfulfilled in your life. I realized if I was actually going to be that provider man for my wife and my son, that there was just honestly no way I was going to do that while being a military soldier. And for some, this might hurt, this might sting. But for me, it's my truth. I've been able to lead my family. I've been able to lead myself. I've been able to lead everything in my life outside of the military only because I believed that I could do it, and I took the steps and moved forward to make this shit happen. I didn't go to college. I don't have any special certifications. I don't have a special degree. I don't have this crazy secret that other people just don't know. I just chose to never identify with what society tells me I am, and I chose to take life into my own hands. You see, guys, who you are should not be defined in what you do, but it should only be defined by you, who you are, and what you're trying to become. Now, with this last thought I want to leave you guys is that leaving does not mean abandoning. Leaving does not mean quitting. It means evolving. The best thing I ever did in my life was believe that I could make it outside of the military. Was believe that even though I had a great service period of 5 years, even though I made E5 on year 3, even though I had amazing leaders when I first joined the military for my first 3 years, even though it honestly went relatively smoothly, I was still meant for more. Not all smooth though, it was a little crazy. Not all smooth though, there was a couple of, near-death instances. But I was still meant for more. And the thing is, so are you. So this is for my people who are afraid of, leaving their current job, whether it be the military, whether it be the workforce, corporate, whatever it may be, guys. I really want you guys to understand that you guys can genuinely change your life. And the last thing you need to be afraid of is change. You know why? Because change is the only way we can evolve. Change is the only thing that allows us to grow. Change is the only thing that brings a new in our life, especially when we don't currently like the life we're living right now. Never identify with your work. Identify with who you know you are and what you're trying to become. Don't let the world place an identity onto you. You are exactly who you know you are and what you're trying to become. This is one of those real talks for you guys. If you guys like this video, shoot me a like, shoot me a subscribe, comment any suggestions you may have for the next video. If you want to learn exactly how I started making money online as an Army soldier, if you want to learn how I've leveled up my thinking, leveled up my mindset to actually live this free life, then guess what? Watch some more of my YouTube videos. Follow me on Instagram. Comment any video suggestions that you may have right in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys in the next video.